Kia ora everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I am back with another book review. It has been a while since I last did a book review, but I just finished a really good book and there were so many good takeaways and so many good things that I think people could learn from. The book is Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I just finished it yesterday on the train. It took me maybe around a month. Just quickly before I get into it, this is a book I would honestly 10 out of 10 recommend. Some people have asked me my thoughts on the book, what are my thoughts on the book and what would I rate the book. I would rate it a 10 out of 10, and before I get into it, it has helped me already in a positive way to implement better habits. And my reason for buying this book, I went to Whitcoulls, which is a bookstore here in New Zealand, last month in December, and during that time I was kind of just being lazy, had no habits. I didn't have a morning routine or anything like that, didn't have any structure for content and stuff like that, and just life in general. I saw this book on the shelf and I think it was $30, $35, and I wasn't going to get it, but then I decided this could be a good chance for me to start making some good changes and implementing some better habits into my life. So I picked this book up, and it has been recommended to me before by Isaac John from YKTR. Well, not meant to me personally, but he's talked about it a lot in his content and his podcast. So I thought I'd try it out, and at the time it was kind of hard because I have to really get into self-development books. Sometimes they don't hit the spot, sometimes they do. But this one really hit differently, and I wrote down some good notes. And so before we get into it, I'm going to talk about how I've implemented some of my learnings from this book. And I'm not going to share too much because I want everyone to actually go out and read this themselves, but I just wanted to let everyone know that I recommend this book, and it's a great read, and I've taken a lot away from it. And so what he talks about in this book is there's 4 laws to building a habit. There's 4 laws. The first law is to make it obvious, the second law is to make it attractive, the third law is to make it easy, and the last law, the fourth law, is to make it satisfying. And there is inversions of those laws, and they're all just the opposite. So for example, the third law, make it easy, the inversion of that law, which would be to not build a good habit, would be to make it hard. So that's what we don't want to do, is we don't want to make the habits too hard. And so starting with the first law, making it obvious, implementing intentions. This is how I've applied the first law to my daily life to build habits. And there's a thing called implementation intention, which is to make your habits really obvious. Write it out specifically, write the time you're going to do it, and write the location you're going to do it. And if we flick back to my daily journal, this is my daily journal here. I've shared this on my Instagram before, and so this is what I write. So today is Friday, and I wrote a to-do list. And my to-do, it starts off like this. It says, I will wake up at 6 AM in my bed. And that sounds like everyone knows they're going to wake up in their bed. But what this does is it makes the habit obvious. Or for example, I'll move to the next one. I will make tea at 6:10 AM in the kitchen. And that may sound like, okay, why do you write that? But the first law is to make the habit. The first law is to make the habit obvious. So when I write this down, I'm reprogramming or programming my mind to make this habit obvious. So the habit is making tea. And so what you do with implementation intention, it is you write it as I will, and then the behavior, so making tea at a specific time, whatever time you're going to do that, in the location. So you're implementing the intention to build this habit. So if we look at my next one, it says I will journal at 6:15 AM in my room. And then so if we look at this one, it says I will plan and record book review at 9 AM at my desk. So I know at 9 AM I have to be at my desk and I have to be planning this book review. And so that's how I've implemented the first law. If we move to the second law, make it attractive. So you want to make your habits attractive, and you want to make them aesthetically pleasing. So you want to pair an action that you want to do, so a habit you want to implement, with something that you need to do. So for example, if I want to play on my phone, then I'll pair that with something I need to do, like meditation. So I need to meditate before I can play on my phone because that's something I want to do. And that's just a broad example. And law number 3 is make it easy. So it says to decrease the number of steps between you and the habit. So some people might start out and say, okay, I want to exercise for 1 hour a day, but often that's too hard. Like that, it's just for a lot of people that have never exercised before, that's hard, saying an hour a day. So what James Clear said in this book is to make it easy. So start with I want to exercise, or I will exercise for 5 minutes today. And so he told a story about someone that went to the gym And at the start, when they were trying to build this habit, they would write, I will go to the gym for 1 minute or 5 minutes, or I'll walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes. So they'll go to the gym, they'll walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes, and then they'll leave straight away. And that's just day one. They might do that for the first week, but as they slowly start to build the habit of, because the habit is not walking on the treadmill, the habit is actually getting up and getting to the gym. You want to decrease the number of steps, and you want to make it as easy as possible. So by getting up and going to the gym for 5 minutes, that's already triggering that habit in your mind to get to the gym, which is the first habit that you need to get into before you can even get on the treadmill. And the fourth law is to make it satisfying, and so it says to use reinforcement. Give yourself an immediate reward when you complete your habit. And a good example of this for me is overspending, or spending when I should be saving, or spending when I should not be spending on unnecessary things. And so the way you can reward yourself, if you're the same as me and you buy unnecessary things, and it's definitely a work on personally, which this book has helped a lot. It's helped to even make me conscious of it, and to implement this is to make it satisfying. So for example, say I'm meant to be saving money and I go to the supermarket and I want to buy a $5 juice, but I want to break out of that bad habit of doing that random spending. So what I do is I will, instead of spending the $5 on the juice, I will transfer the $5 from my everyday account into my savings account, and that's satisfying. That's a reward, rewarding yourself for breaking that bad habit of unnecessary spending. And that's a way that I'm going to use, and I am starting to use, to make your habits satisfying, is reward yourself for not giving into those bad habits, and reward yourself for sticking with the good habits. I can't remember which one this came into, but he also talks about motivation. Motivation is overrated. Environment is more important. So instead of, for example, instead of waking up and relying on motivation to get you to the gym, redesign your environment to help you implement those habits to get to the gym. For example, instead of waking up and thinking, oh damn, I'm struggling for motivation for the gym, the night before maybe get your gym clothes ready next to your bed, or maybe on the bedside table or cabinet, so that as soon as you wake up you see those gym clothes, and you've redesigned your environment to help you build those habits. Whereas if you had no gears ready for the gym or anything like that, it's easy to just roll over and go back to sleep. But if you see those there, then it's going to be easier for you to build that habit. Basically, yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today in today's book review. I don't want to make it too long, and I really just want to inspire and encourage you guys to go and read this book yourself. It's a really good book. But what I will leave you with last is what he talks about in the Make It Satisfying. The fourth law is to never miss twice. So don't beat yourself up for having one day off bad habits. Maybe one day you might sleep in past your alarm. Maybe the habit you're trying to build is to wake up early every morning, and maybe one day you sleep in. Make sure that next day you get back on track, and you're up that early, as early as you want to be. And so never miss twice. Always follow up a bad habit with a good habit, or the habit that you're trying to build. 100%, as I said at the start of this review, I would 10 out of 10 recommend this book. Go down and read it. I've seen it at lots of bookstores, maybe even listen to the audiobook, whatever your preference is. But if you are in the same space that I was in December, looking to implement some positive changes into your life and to better yourself, go and check out Atomic Habits, and follow James Clear, and yeah, see if that's a book that you enjoy. I'll be sure to do some more reviews on the books that I read in the future. If you enjoyed this, leave a comment down below, let me know what you enjoyed it, comment an emoji, anything, and I'll get back to you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Peace and love.